This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
But he gave us his word at the Biden. He promised he wouldn't pardon his son. He said it over and over again. All his people, all his surrogates said he wouldn't pardon his son. Nobody is above the law. The only surprising thing this morning as we sit here and discuss the first president in American history to pardon his son, his criminal, crackhead, degenerate son of everything, pardoned him for everything, not just the gun charge, not just the tax charges, not just the things he was about to be sentenced on in this month of December, but he pardoned him for everything he may have done in the last 11 years, going back to 2014. Oh, this is just, this is hilarious. Let me just say, I've said over and over again for the last, 6 months, of course he's going to pardon him. You should not be surprised. I am not surprised. Nobody who is paying attention is surprised for a couple reasons. The only evidence we had that Joe Biden wasn't going to pardon Hunter Biden is that he said he wouldn't pardon Hunter Biden. Oh, no, not that. Joe Biden going back on his word. We are talking about the most prolific liar ever to hold public office in the United States. The most prolific liar ever to serve as president. If Joe Biden is talking, Joe Biden is lying. Joe Biden lies about everything. And we've all seen it. Joe Biden said he never talked business with Hunter Biden. Joe Biden lied about his class rank. He lied about where he went to college, where he grew up, who raised him. He does not speak without lying. And you thought this time was going to be different? It is truly comical watching people in the mainstream media, Democrats, defend this scoundrel, this corrupt, lying reprobate. That is the man who is sitting president for 49 more days. A man who just doesn't ever tell the truth. A guy who's been grifting and lying and stealing and influence peddling and selling out his country for decades now. That's the man who is finishing out his term in disgrace. Of course he was going to pardon him. Of course he was lying when he said he would never pardon him. He's not just pardoning his son. He will pardon his brother in the next few weeks. He'll pardon anybody. He might even pardon himself because he didn't pardon his son because he's a loving father. He pardoned his son because his son was the bagman for the Biden influencing peddling scheme. The reason it goes back to 2014 is that was the year Hunter Biden was appointed to the board of Burisma. That was the year the Biden crime family began to earn big money in Ukraine and then expanded their empire to China and Romania and many other hostile countries, Russia. And he knows that there's a new sheriff in town, obviously, on January 20th. And he knows that he would be implicated in this. And one other thing to keep in mind, and this was reported this morning, that Hunter Biden is planning on writing another book and telling his whole story. That was hanging over Joe Biden. You think Joe Biden is not just protecting himself? You think he trusted Hunter Biden to, do his time, be a stand-up guy? Hunter Biden? That was never going to happen. Hunter Biden knows everything. He knows more than anyone else just how corrupt, just what a piece of garbage his father is. He knows that. More than anyone, he knows where the bodies are buried. And Hunter Biden, I think, I wouldn't put it past him. Hunter Biden was threatening to tell all. He had to pardon Hunter Biden. He had no choice. He's protecting himself. He's protecting his brother. He's protecting all the family members who've made millions selling the country out for the last 10, 12, 15, 20, 50 years. This is the most corrupt president in American history. We know that now. This is the most dishonest man ever to hold the office. And you thought he was telling the truth to David Muir when he was sitting there oceanside in Europe talking about his son, who he loves very, very much. He's the smartest man he knows. He's a good and decent man who's on the road to recovery. But no, he wasn't going to pardon him. Let's revisit this one more time. Joe Biden on Hunter. Go ahead.
And it should be respected.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
Yes. I can't believe there were people who actually believed that, who actually thought he was going to stay out of it because he respected the jury's decision. He respected the rule of law. If you honestly thought he was telling the truth, you are the biggest fool, the biggest dupe. Here's what Joe Biden's doing in his final days. He's bringing everyone down with him. That's what he's doing. Everyone in the mainstream media, everyone in the Democrat Party who said he was a good, decent man. He was a good father. He was a family man. You either aren't paying attention or you're just lying on behalf of the regime. That's what you're doing. You're lying on behalf of this crook. You know what he is. We've seen the evidence. We know what this family has done for at least a decade. And you're going to sit there and say, he's just a good and decent father. Let me tell you about the good and decent father. Can you get that picture that Jesse Kelly tweeted out? Joe Biden being sworn into the Senate 50 years ago. He did it in Hunter Biden's hospital room because young Hunter, was injured in the car accident that killed Joe Biden's wife and daughter. He was using his family from the beginning, from day one. He never missed the opportunity to exploit his family tragedy. Here it is. Hunter Biden suffered a serious head injury. He's in the hospital. He dressed the kid up for the photo op and was sworn into the Senate from the hospital room where Bo and Hunter were recovering. That's Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the loving father, used his crack-addled son, his drug addict son, to travel all around the world and collect millions on behalf of his family. That's a loving father. Hunter Biden has even admitted that it was difficult to do this job, to be the bag man, to be the front man for the Biden family while he was in the throes of addiction. That's how much he cared about his drug-addled son who was suffering. He used him to enrich himself, to enrich the whole family. Hunter had to kick 10% back to the big guy. We know that. That's a fact. Yes. And now Joe Biden, there he is. No one is above the law. Here is the statement. It's one thing to pardon him, but do you know what he did when he pardoned him? He blamed the justice system. Yes, the same system that had a plea deal written up for Hunter Biden in the summer of 2023 that would have done what Joe Biden did yesterday, that would have let him off the hook for all crimes, past, present, and future. That was the deal that David Weiss made before a judge took a look at it and tore it up because it was just so corrupt. The same David Weiss reluctantly agreed to prosecute him on some crimes and overlook others and let the statute of limitation run out on others. So they prosecute him because they have to, because Hunter is a stone cold criminal. Joe Biden released a statement yesterday, which is so brazen. It's almost, you have to laugh. You really do. Here he is. Today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making. and I kept my word, even as I've watched my son be selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchasers, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest, are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It's clear that Hunter was treated differently. So his son, who has skated on everything, I mean, if we've seen the laptop, according to one estimate, there were 450 felonies on that laptop. There were underage girls on that laptop, drugs, guns, you name it. He wants you to believe Hunter was treated differently, which is accurate. He was treated because he's a Biden, he got off. The charges in this case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. This guy, the nerve, the gall. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in a courtroom with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. The plea deal was a joke. And the judge knew it. The judge tore it up because she knew it was a gift to the Biden family. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's case can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he's my son, and that is wrong. There's been an effort to break Hunter, who's been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me, and there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. From my entire, here's the best part. You ready for this? From Joe Biden yesterday. For my entire career, I followed a simple principle. I can't do this. A simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. Joe Biden, just tell the American people the truth. They'll be fair-minded. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I've wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made the decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it any further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. This is incredible. This is your legacy. Joe Biden, your legacy is decades of corruption. And it ends with one big fat lie. I will not pardon my son. And his surrogates, they had to lie for him. KJP, Joe Scarborough and Rachel Maddow and Jake Tapper, they had to lie for him. They actually ran with Joe Biden's lie that he wouldn't pardon Hunter. Again, Joe Biden is not just pardoning Hunter, he's pardoning himself. He's pardoning everybody involved in the schemes they've been running for 10, 11 years, enriching the family, making millions. And now there's one big problem Joe Biden has. Hunter Biden, if he testifies, when he testifies in front of Congress, he can no longer plead the fifth. Joe Biden has a big problem. The House is controlled by the Republicans. The Senate is controlled by the Republicans. And we're just going to have to hope they do the right thing and haul this crack-addled piece of garbage in front of Congress and forced him to testify because he cannot plead the fifth. He is no longer, he's no longer going to be prosecuted. He has received a full pardon for everything, not just the gun charge, not just the tax charge, for everything. So if he testifies, he has to tell the truth. The only crimes he can be charged with, the only crime, perjury. If he goes under oath in front of Congress and is asked about the scheme that he and his family have been running for years, he has to tell the truth. And he won't tell the truth because he's Hunter Biden. That is going to be amazing. Watching Hunter Biden testify with full immunity, possibly against his father, who can, by the way, pardon himself. He can pardon Jim, his brother. He can pardon Haley, his daughter. He can pardon everybody. But if you get a full pardon, you cannot plead the fifth. And if Congress, I mean, we know everything changes on January 20th. This has to happen. Hunter Biden has to be hauled before Congress. Mike Johnson, do the right thing. Day one, make Hunter Biden testify. Make him answer questions about not the gun charge, not the gun charge, by the way, 2018. The tax charges, 2016 to 2019. The pardon goes back to 2014. Why? That's not when he committed the crimes for which he was scheduled to be sentenced this month. No. Here it is. For those offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted by David Weiss, Hunter Biden receives a full and complete pardon. In testimony whereof I have signed my name and caused the pardon to be recorded with the Department of Justice, signed by Joseph Robinette Biden. I hope everybody who defended this crook, this liar, this family, I hope they wake up today and realize you're a fool, you're a dupe, you're a pawn, you were used by this thoroughly corrupt president. And this is what he's going to do in his final days. He's going to protect his slimy, scummy, filthy, dirty family. That's what he's going to do for the next 49 days. He's going to make sure that they get away with it. And that's what he's concerned with. The man who told you over and over, no one's above the law, that he respects the judicial system, that he respects juries. He just spit in your face, every single one of you, every one of you in the media, in the Democrat Party, every one of you pundits and analysts who've been defending him. He doesn't care about the Department of Justice or the rule of law. He cares about Joe Biden, and he cares about his family, which have gotten filthy rich for the last 50 years in Washington. That is the beauty of this. I mean, we all knew it was coming. I told you over and over again, he's lying. He will pardon his son. We knew it was coming, and now everybody knows what Joe Biden is all about. Everybody knows he doesn't give a damn about the judicial system or the rule of law or norms in institutions. He cares about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and all these rest of these scoundrels in this family. As I've said many times, he leaves January 20th. Everything changes. It's time to fumigate the White House and get this crook the hell out of there. And remember what he was all about. Remember what mattered to him. What mattered to him was his family and his money and his schemes and his grifting. That's all he is. Just a low down, dirty grifter. And it's pretty well established at this point. I think we could stop pretending. Stop talking about Joe Biden, the family man. Anybody who says today he's a good father, don't forget, he sent the kid. He sent his son around the world to collect millions for his family while his son was struggling with addiction. And does anyone believe he's 5.5 years sober? God, these people are shameless. Do we have KJP? We got to get to her because KJP, everybody in Biden's circle was forced to lie for him. They were and now their reputations are in tatters. I mean, if you're any of these people, if you're Karine Jean-Pierre, or if you're if you're Kamala Harris, and you've spent the last 4 years lying on behalf of this crook, don't you feel like a fool at this point? I mean, you're Karine Jean-Pierre. You have lied to the American people every day, virtually, for 4 years. Your reputation is crap right now. Don't you feel like you should, I don't know, resign? If you had any dignity, wouldn't you today just say, I can't do this anymore? I can't be a part of this? Here's a quick compilation of KJP looking into the cameras, looking into the eyes of the White House press corps, and just lying her ass off. Go ahead.
Second one, will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. To go back to the first question of the briefing, I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying it would not.
It's still a no. It's still a
It
no.
will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
No. She's on a trip right now to Africa, to Angola. Joe Biden got out of town. He didn't even time this well. He should have issued this Thursday or Friday. And then there'd been a news cycle over Thanksgiving weekend. It wouldn't got nearly the attention it's getting now. They did it on Sunday night, heading into Monday. Today, every one of these stooges who has been doing the bidding for the Biden family for years is forced to go before the cameras and say, hey, he's just a good father. This is what any father would do. Sure, what any father would do. He is, as we've said many times, not just a terrible president. He's a terrible human being, a terrible father. Do we have Biden reacting to the conviction? This is Joe Biden in June, after his son was convicted of the gun crime. Still, I mean, I know he's just a liar at heart. His instinct is to lie. But talking about what a wonderful guy Hunter is really an insult to the American public. I mean, this is the guy who told you the laptop was Russian disinformation in a debate with Trump. When everyone knew that he knew exactly what was on the laptop, he knew it was real. He just lied to you, as he's done over and over again for his entire career. Here he is reacting to the conviction in June. Go ahead.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
One of the most decent men he knows. If you have not read Laptop from Hell, if you haven't seen the photos, the videos in the laptop, yes, there are underage females on that laptop, but there will be no conviction. There will be no justice for those girls because he just pardoned the scumbag and told you he's one of the most decent men he knows. I guess that tells you all you need to know about Joe Biden. All right, we got much more to get to. We got to get to the great Scott Jennings, who is the only reason to watch CNN now. He just went off this morning. We got to get to the new director of the FBI. I'm telling you, Trump's not batting 1,000. He made another terrible appointment to the DEA, but the big ones, the big ones like head of the FBI. This is perfect. Kash Patel is coming, and nobody knows better where the bodies are buried. I am so looking forward to Kash Patel. Hopefully, Republicans in the Senate will stand up, show some spine, and confirm him. And then, man, all hell will break loose and the rats will go scurrying. This is going to be great. We'll get to that. And, big scoop in the New York Times. They found emails from Pete Hegseth's mother that she was sending to her son during his divorce. That's big. From the publication that ignored, that covered up, dug him off, covered up anything Democrats do, but they recently covered up what Doug Emhoff did to his nanny, knocked up his nanny, smacked around his girlfriend. That wasn't news. But an email from Hegseth's mother to Pete Hegseth years ago, big news. In fact, the New York Times called it a gift to their readers. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux night guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux night guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux night guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses two materials for added durability. Order a Brux night guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. Well, if you haven't had a chance to check out the reaction to the mainstream media, it is truly hilarious at this point. And like I said, you got to check out CNN, even though they're hemorrhaging viewers and they're dying at this point. It is incredible. This is from CNN commentator S.E. Cupp. She used to be a conservative. I don't know what happened to her. But her reaction to Biden pardoning his crackhead son, she writes, "It doesn't get said enough, but Trump's enduring legacy will be convincing both parties to lower the bar and that possessing moral authority on anything is no longer a currency that matters." You get that? Biden pardoning his son when he said he wouldn't is Trump's fault. Trump lowered the bar. So now Joe Biden is free to pardon this career criminal, Hunter Biden. They're actually blaming Trump at this point. Oh, I'm having too much fun. I'm sorry. Let's get to the great Scott Jennings, CNN commentator, who is saving that network. But he went off this morning and basically just body bagged this Democrat who claimed Joe Biden didn't lie. He just changed his mind. Yeah, he didn't lie. I'm sorry, lady. We've seen it over and over again. We knew he was lying when he said it. Everybody knew. You knew he was lying. And now you're forced to spin. You're forced to cover for this liar. Man, that is the hardest job in media, to pretend that Joe Biden is not just an inveterate lying piece of crap. But here's the great Scott Jennings reacting to the news. Go ahead.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, And that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes. And Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar. And there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
Yeah, he is 100% right. He is leaving office in disgrace, which is the only way Joe Biden was ever going to leave office. I don't know what's coming in the next 49 days, but it's going to get even uglier because Joe Biden doesn't care about anybody but himself. He doesn't care about the Democrat Party. They shivved him in the back. He's a bitter, angry old man. He is in the throes of dementia. He's going to lash out. It's going to get worse. Get ready. Here's a guy, Joe Walsh, former Republican congressman, who has spent the last 4 years defending Biden, blaming Trump for everything. He's one of these bitter never Trumpers. Even he was at a loss. Even he could not defend this move. And he knows this looks really bad for his people. Those are the people in the mainstream media who want to blame Trump for not respecting the rule of law, not respecting our institutions. That whole argument, which we've heard for 4 years, is just gone now. They can't do it anymore. Let's watch Joe Walsh.
What do you make of all of this? What is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
Good to be with you. See, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this. The politicization of the justice system, Donald Trump and his people have been screaming. Well, that's exactly what Biden said here.
Yes, that's on MSNBC. They give him credit, give Walsh credit. There's no way to spin this. I mean, you can't say he's just a loving father. You can't say any father would do this. Do what? Make sure the pardon goes back to 2014 before he committed any of the crimes for which he was standing trial. Why would you do that? Why? Because he's involved. That's why. He's pardoning himself here. He's pardoning his entire worthless family. Yes. And he's opening the door. This was great news for all the January 6th defendants. Great news. Donald Trump can take office on January 20th and pardon whoever the hell he wants. What are they going to do? Scream, no one's above the law? Trump posted, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the January 6 hostages who've now been in prison for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. He's right. Donald Trump should give a blanket pardon to every January 6 defendant. I know in the past I've said, you could pardon the nonviolent ones. Well, the violent ones, most of them, have been in jail for the better part of 4 years. That's a pretty hefty sentence when you're talking about vandalism or shoving a cop, especially when it happened right after the George Floyd riots. The guy who burned the police station to the ground in Minneapolis got 4 years. I believe he's out. He's out. The people who stormed or allowed in the Capitol or welcomed into the Capitol, who went in there, walked through, chanted, prayed, waved the flag, they should all be pardoned day one. And I would love to hear the media kick and scream and say no one's above the law. Well, that's only one of the developments over this weekend. The big news until the pardon was Kash Patel. We got to get to Kash Patel because, again, Trump's made some great appointments and he's made some questionable ones, but the big ones, I like the big ones. I'm looking forward to Pete Hegseth going before the Senate. It's going to be wild, but I think they should confirm him and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK. But Kash Patel is the one that is really rattling the cages of the swamp rats. And they're upset because Christopher Wray, he's not done with his term. He has a 10-year term. And people in the media are actually saying Christopher Wray shouldn't be fired. Christopher Wray is the one who raided Mar-a-Lago. Christopher Wray was the head of the FBI when they put all the January 6th defendants, including the grandmother who prayed in the Capitol for 10 minutes. He's the one who infiltrated Catholic churches. He's the one who's sitting on the Epstein list right now. Of course, Christopher Wray has to go. Christopher Wray went before Congress this summer and questioned whether Donald Trump was actually shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. No, it might have just been a scrape on the podium. You don't know. Christopher Wray is the worst swamp rat of them all. Just a liar and a disgrace. Of course, he's fired day one if he doesn't resign, and he'll be replaced by somebody who is just going to shake things up like nobody else. Kash Patel already has them scurrying and screaming and saying he's not qualified. Not qualified. These are from the people who thought Pete Buttigieg, was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, was qualified to be Secretary of Transportation. These are people who thought, Rachel Levine was a great choice as assistant head of HHS. He's been a senior advisor to the Department of National Intelligence, chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense, a public defender, a federal prosecutor, and the chief aide to Devin Nunes, who uncovered the Russia hoax. The Russia hoax. We would have never known about it if not for Kash Patel. He is tireless. He is fearless. He's not going to back down. He's going to go in there day one and just start kicking ass, taking names, and changing the way things are done in Washington. I hope he keeps his promise to shut down the FBI building, the J. Edgar Hoover building in D.C., which is the world headquarters for the deep state. This guy is now, hopefully soon, to be the boss, to be the man in charge. Let's hear him tell us what he's planning to do day one. Go ahead.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI had has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
That is perfect. That's the guy that has them really nervous in D.C. right now. What happens if Kash Patel gets confirmed and immediately releases the Epstein client list, the Diddy list? What happens then? It has to happen. The Republicans have to stand strong. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, you have to do the right thing and confirm this guy, because this is what Trump promised to do. This is how you drain the swamp. This is how you reform government. 7,000 people sitting in a building in D.C. I shouldn't say that. Most of them are working from home, working from Chevy Chase, from their mansions in the suburbs. But why? Why do they have to be in D.C.? Why shouldn't they be spread around the country? We got lots of crime in this country in lots of places, not just D.C. Get them out of there. Close these buildings. That would be so great. He doesn't have to make it a deep state museum. Hell, he could sell it. We could sell it off. We could destroy it. But this is exactly what Trump ran on. This is a promise kept. He's bringing in disruptors, and that's what we want to see. Serious disruption. Do we have more from the great Kash Patel? Oh, by the way, if you object to this appointment, if you vote against Kash Patel, you're a racist. Those are the rules. They're not my rules. They're their rules. If you're against Kash Patel, just like if you're against, I don't know, Ketanji Brown Jackson or KJP or Kamala Harris, then you're a racist. If you vote against him, if you oppose him, it's strictly because of he's a Hindu. So you're against him. You're anti-Hindu if you vote against Kash Patel. Nothing else matters. According to Democrats, everything's about race. So if you're against him, you're a racist. Let's hear more from Kash.
Yeah, this is him talking more about declassifying like half of the stuff we have.
Oh, which is long overdue. There's much too much. How about that? They declassify the JFK files day one, 9/11 files day one, and force Democrats and media, their surrogates in the media, force them to defend secrecy. That's what he's going to do. Force them to defend keeping all these things in the dark, in keeping them classified, things that from 60 years ago. Oh yeah, that has to be classified. Why? Everyone involved is dead and gone. Why can't we see them? Why can't we see the Epstein list? Why? No more protecting the powerful. That's what the Biden DOJ has been doing. That's what Democrats have been doing. That's over day one, hopefully. Let's listen to Kash.
Anyway, the other thing that I put in the book that I recommended the boss to do hits on this. We need a 24/7 declassification office.
Yes.
Rolling papers out 24/7. And not just like JFK and not just 9/11. You're talking to the guy that's read the whole 9/11 report and those 7 pages that people talk about. But I believe as like the guy who is an intel guy who believes wholeheartedly in the classified system of information, I believe that it has been over abused by these corrupt officials in government to hide the truth and enact more corrupt activities. So what I told the boss was like, I don't care what you call it, truth and reconciliation, whatever, come up with a better name. But every agency and department literally submits all of their documentation. And I believe you could get half out, half. I still think the other half needs to remain classified. I'll always argue that it does serve a purpose. But like you're seeing in these documents in the Jack Smith case, they're just redacting stuff that they lied about, that they broke the law.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's used to protect themselves.
And it's a public document in a federal court, which is a document for the people of the United States. And we can have you run that office. You can come in and just be like, hey, I want all the Saudi documents.
I'll gladly do that. I'd be so happy.
So Luke will be the press secretary for the Libertarian Party.
The declassifying
the
document.
Viceroy of declassification.
Absolutely. I like that.
There you go.
I'm in. Where do I sign up?
Yeah. But I think that's how you earn the respect. Like you said, Donald Trump started talking about these things. Then we started putting these documents out there. And remember when I ran Russiagate, right? They came after me and said, if you put out the Nunes memo and you put this out that you wrote, our enemies and our allies are going to get murdered. No one died.
Good for him. That's what we need. Guy just like that. Great appointment. Not all the appointments are great. I should mention this. Trump, for some reason, I gotta figure this one out. To head the DEA, named Florida Sheriff Chad Cronister. Guy's terrible. The guy was a COVID crazy. He arrested a pastor for holding church services during COVID. He told boaters they had to stay 50 feet away from other boats, to flatten the curve. He's a terrible pick, and hopefully he'll either withdraw or will not get confirmed. We can hope, but we'll see. I love the Kash Patel pick. All right, I tell you, it's going to get ugly. As I've said now for a few weeks, it's going to get really ugly, particularly for Pete Hegseth. Again, we talked about this a lot. Pete Hegseth is clearly not a great husband, not a great father. In his private life, he's had some issues, but he is a combat veteran, and he is great. He is just what they need at the Department of Defense. I am hoping he can weather this storm. But man, they're going to come at him and at him hard. The New York Times this weekend, it showed what they will do, how far they will go to stop Trump's appointments. We'll get to it. It's just as slimy and scummy as you'd imagine. It is bad. We will tell you about that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
all right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. All right, it was hard to believe this was real. This was over the weekend, 10 o'clock at night on November 29th. A New York Times reporter named Sharon Lafreniere. Yes, her Twitter handle is Sharon NYT, an actual New York Times reporter. They have a story where they got a hold of emails from Pete Hegseth's mom, Penelope Hegseth, to Pete during a really ugly divorce. And they put out a story, and this reporter tweets, "This article about Pete Hegseth is a gift. You can read it for free." So for Thanksgiving, the New York Times said they have a gift for you. Personal, private emails from a mother to a son. Now, it is obviously damning for Pete Hegseth, but this is how low they're willing to go. This is one of the slimiest things I've ever seen, particularly. I mean, that's saying a lot with the New York Times. If this were a Democrat, they would bury it. It would never see the light of day. But it's a Republican, and that's what they do. They try to smear, try to destroy Republicans. Trump appointees. There is no limit to how far they will go to destroy them. There's your headline. Pete Hegseth's mother accused her son of mistreating women for years. So the mother, Penelope, is not happy about her son going through a divorce. She's not happy that he cheated on his wife. She likes his wife. She likes her daughter-in-law. They have kids. They have 3 kids, I believe, at this point. And so the mom is writing a personal, private email to her son saying she's not happy with the way things are going. I think, lots of mothers, when their kids go through divorces, aren't happy. If they like the spouse, they know the divorce goes through, they never see that spouse again. They have kids, grandkids involved here. This is perfectly understandable. It's back behind the paywall. The letter, they had the letter in front of the paywall, but it's back behind the paywall. But this is from Breitbart. They write, New York Times reporter Sharon Lafreniere published a hit piece on President-elect Donald Trump's Pentagon chief nominee, Pete Hegseth, based on an emotional private email his mother sent him that she told him afterwards she did not mean and regretted. Yes, she writes this email telling her son, she said it was in anger and emotion that she wrote the email scolding him for the way he was treating his wife during the divorce. She called her a good woman, a good mother. She said Samantha Hegseth, is a good mother and a good person. And I know deep down you know that. For you to try to label her as unstable for your own advantage is despicable and abusive. Is there any sense of decency left in you? She does not deserve this. So she's unhappy again about the divorce. Then she immediately writes another email apologizing for sending the emotional email and regretting it. And the New York Times has no problem publishing the email. And this is from 6 years ago. It's incredible. This is incredible. They published a 6-year-old personal private email, and the Democrats will use this. They will run with this. Get ready. The New Yorker is preparing a big piece. Everything they do is big, long, about how Pete Hegseth has a drinking problem. They're talking to one of his former employees at the veterans organization that he ran, saying that they used to get drunk after work. So that's coming when Pete goes before the Senate. I think he's a tough guy. I think he's obviously battle tested. He's been in battle. He's been in war. He's served his country. He's smart. He's tough. He's not always a great husband, but he is going to get put through the ringer because this is the kind of thing they're planning to do. You don't think the Democrats on the committee will use this, will attack him for this, for the fake rape charge that Jane Doe accused him of? That's coming too. So hopefully Pete can stand up. I have real doubts about Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell. I'm not sure it's going to be easy, and it's going to be ugly, and I hope Pete is ready for it. But that is how low right now the New York Times has like a team of reporters trying to go through his high school yearbook, talk to everybody who served with him, find anybody who doesn't like him, who can disparage him, who can smear him. It doesn't have to be true. They can make it up like Jane Doe did in California, but it's going to get nasty for Pete, and hopefully he's ready for it. All right. Before we go, do we have time for this Fauci thing? This is your, Joe Biden, again, he's not going to go out gracefully. Just get ready. Joe Biden over the weekend honored Anthony Fauci. Yes, this evil little elf, this despicable disgrace of a man who we know, thanks largely to Robert Kennedy Jr., but we know just what a scumbag Fauci is. He's made a fortune once again. He pushed back as he convinced 2 presidents to shut down the country, to mask children, to ruin small businesses. His legacy, eventually, we're going to look back at Fauci as just the worst of the worst, a federal bureaucrat drunk on power, a venal little man who got wealthy, who tried to ruin anybody who dissented, whether it was a scientist, a media member, one of the biggest advocates of censorship, just a total disgrace. But not according to Joe Biden. According to Joe Biden, Tony Fauci is a hero. Yes, an American hero. Listen to this.
A special thanks to one of the great public health officials, a true hero, who we've led this fight against HIV/AIDS, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Where is that?
Oh my God.
Man, God love you. As my mother would say, God love you, Anthony.
Oh, a true hero. He calls Fauci a true hero. By the way, he didn't handle HIV any better than he handled COVID. He was pushing. He was cashing in. He was pushing. He was doing the bidding of Big Pharma then and now, and he's a total disgrace. And this guy calls him a true hero. God, I look forward to January 20th. All this ends. All this ends. When RFK hopefully gets confirmed, you are going to hear about the real Anthony Fauci, which is the name of the book, by the way, The Real Anthony Fauci. The last thing. He's a lot of things. A hero is not one of them. He is. He should be behind bars. He should die in prison. He caused great suffering and death and hurt a lot of people. And he did it for the money, as we will all learn soon enough. God, this is going to be good. 49 days. 49. No debate here. Is Tim Wakefield, the great Wakefield. Definitely Tim Wakefield. But I had so much more to get to today. But hey, we'll be back. We'll be back. This is just a wild time to be alive. But thanks to everyone for watching, for listening on Free Speech, Rumble, and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe. Please go to Apple, go to Spotify, and give us a follow. We appreciate it. Thanks again for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you.